Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we're going to be taking a look at Wedge Antilles from the Star Wars Black Series. Now this guy is pretty cool, but before we take a closer look at him, let's go ahead and take a look at his packaging. So here it is, pretty standard for what we've seen out of the Black Series. Nice big window here on the front, as well as an image of Wedge down here in the corner. Flipping it over onto the back, you can see there is a brief description. And of course, if you'd like to read that, you can go ahead and just pause the video. And then, of course, that same image from the front is repeated again here on the back. We've seen this a million times, so let's go ahead and get back to the figure itself. Now, Wedge stands at about 5.5 inches tall, which is what we would expect out of this figure because it is on the Luke Skywalker body, but I feel like it's a little bit short for the character. I'm not 100% positive, but I'm imagining he's probably not as short as Mark Hamill is, because he's really a pretty small guy. So he feels a little bit small for your average Black Series figure, but not a huge deal, not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. Now he does come with a couple accessories. The first one is his blaster. As you can see, very nicely detailed and painted, which is nice. Would have liked maybe a little bit of dry brushing, but it does look nice overall, so I'm not complaining too much. And then, of course, he does come with his helmet. And as you can see there, very nicely painted and weathered. There's a ton of really nice details on here. And then, of course, it does fit over the figure's head. As you can see, nicely face printed on there. Looks great. And then once you get the helmet on, it's hard to do this through the rangefinder, or the viewfinder, I mean. But once it's on, it does look very nice. Now, one thing I want to talk about on this figure before we get into the articulation is just the amount of quality control errors that have been made on this figure. I'm going to go ahead and list the first one that I think is the biggest problem on mine, and that is that they put his boot on backwards. So as you can see here, there's a production CE on the front of his boot there. Now that's meant to be on the back. This is actually the front of his boot. And I'm eventually probably going to try and pull this foot off, because it is actually the correct foot, rotate the peg around, and then put the foot back on. But that's an incredibly frustrating problem. You know, I shouldn't have to take this figure apart and fix it right out of the package, especially when that's something that could have easily been caught at the factory. I'm not sure if that's a common problem. Y'all can let me know down in the comment section, but it is definitely very frustrating that it is there. The next thing is that basically every panel on this figure has a different shade of orange. It shows up on camera really well between kind of this upper thigh area and his lower thigh. You know, that's really ridiculous. In real life, it stands out so much, but it's also different between, you know, here and his shoulder, and then between the shoulder, you know, this little piece above his glove and the shoulder area. They've really just kind of caked the paint on there, and you know, nothing matches, so it just doesn't look very good. And then finally, he's got a little bit of like floppy syndrome. It feels a little loose, as you can see. Not a huge deal, but something that is worth pointing out, especially since this figure has so many strikes against it already. Just a really frustrating thing in my opinion. Now, as far as the articulation on this figure goes, it does all function. He's got a ball peg with a hinge here in the head. Really nice range of motion on that. It's a little hard to do it with his helmet on, obviously, because the helmet moves as well, but it is nicely articulated. He's got ball hinge shoulders that do swivel 360, hinged elbows with a swivel, ball hinged wrists. I'll bring this in so you can see it, with a swivel. So there's a hinge and a swivel there, and on this side the hinge runs, you know, vertically through the hand like this, and on this side it runs horizontally like this. At the torso, he's got what feels like a single ball peg, pretty nice range of motion there, and this little tube is made of a soft material, so it's not going to break or anything. He does have T-jointed hips. They are limited by the strap here. Not much Hasbro could do there. That's just a part of the design. It is made of soft rubber, so they tried their best there. He does have a thigh swivel. It's a little stuck on mine because this figure's new, but it is there. Double jointed knees. Again, nice range of motion there. And then he's got a boot swivel on both sides. On this side, it's a little higher, but there is a boot swivel on both sides, and then a hinge with an ankle rocker. So overall, I really want to like this figure because we don't have a lot of like non-main character Rebel figures. But honestly, there are just so many problems with this guy that I was just really disappointed when I got it out of the packaging. So I can't recommend this one, even though I want to. I think overall the design's cool, and from way back here, I think he looks fine. But whenever you have it in your hands, it's pretty clear that Hasbro really dropped the ball on the quality control. So anyway, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, and I guess I'll see you later.